Welcome back to the basement. Today we're on Unit 9, Day 3. We're going to talk about angles and triangles. And we're going to start off where we left off the other day, talking about an angle called the straight angle. If we remember, it's the angle of a straight line and it measures 180 degrees. So let me show you something neat that we can do to help us to learn about angles and triangles using the straight angle. I've got a triangle right here. Camera's going to zoom in and out, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to tear off the two edges of the triangle. Okay, now I'm going to line it up best I can. Let's see if I can do this right. Line up my angles. So, if I take the angles from a triangle, we could have called this angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3, and I put them all together, I can see that the sum total of the three angles from a triangle equals 180 degrees. So no matter which triangle I have, it doesn't matter what the side lengths are, it doesn't matter what the angles are. If I add up the angles of all three angles of the triangle, it will always add up to be 180 degrees. Let's use what we just found out about the interior angles of a triangle equaling 180 degrees. I have an angle here that's 30 degrees. 75 degrees, and I don't know degrees. So I know that the total has to be 180 degrees inside the triangle. So I'm going to add the 75 to the 30 degrees and come up with 105 degrees. I'm going to subtract that total from 180 to get this number. So 180 minus 105 is 75. This angle then would measure 75 degrees. X would equal 75 degrees. Another way I could show this to you is 75 plus 30 plus X equals 180. $75 plus 30 is 105 plus X equals 180. This looks like a one-step equation, doesn't it, guys? Let's subtract 105 from both sides. X equals 75 degrees. 75 degrees. This time I have a right triangle, and I know that a right triangle is 90 degrees. So I can add up 37 degrees plus 90 degrees plus y, the unknown angle, and that's going to equal 180 degrees. 90 plus 37 is 127. Plus y equals 180. Subtract 127 from both sides. Y equals 53 degrees. Let's talk about some types of triangles now pretty quickly. We have the acute triangle, which has three acute angles. It's very similar to, well, we talked about acute angles the other day, didn't we? Angles that are less than 90 degrees but greater than 0. So an acute triangle has 1, 2, 3 acute angles. The obtuse triangle, has one obtuse angle, obtuse being greater than 90 but less than 180. So just one obtuse angle in the obtuse triangle. And lastly, we have the right triangle, which we are very familiar with. And the right triangle is distinguished by its one right angle, which you will either be told is 90 degrees or you'll be shown the little square which tells you that means 90 degrees. An equilateral triangle is a special triangle. Look at the base word, equa, meaning equal. Equilateral triangles have 3 congruent sides. That means all the side lengths are the same, right? And 3 congruent angles, which means all the angles are the same size. So if we're going to look for the size of the angles in an equilateral triangle, we know that we could add up the measure of each one of the angles. M degree, oh, I should put degrees there, shouldn't I? M degrees plus M, we know equals 180. So then we have 3M equals 180. I divided by 3 on both sides to get M equals 60. And in an equilateral triangle, all of the angles are always 60 degrees. The isosceles triangle. It is definitely the worst triangle to try to spell. Isosceles triangles have at least 2 congruent sides and at least 2 congruent angles. So 2 of our sides are going to be the same length and 2 of our angles are going to be the same size. So if we had an isosceles triangle with this angle being 40 degrees, we could figure out what the other 2 are by adding 40 plus n degrees plus n degrees equals 180. 40 plus 2n equals 180. Subtract 40 from both sides, giving us 2n equals 140. Divide by 2 on both sides, n would equal 70 degrees. So each one of these would be 70 degrees. Isosceles triangle. The last triangle is the scalene triangle. It has no congruent sides and no congruent angles. And finding the size of the angles is a little bit tricky, and I'd rather just show you that in class. I think it's too involved for the notes. But remember, a scalene triangle has no congruent sides and no congruent angles.